Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be walking you through how I edit a few photos. So if the technology is working, up next to me should be a screen capture of my iPad where I will be editing the photos in the Lightroom app. So I have 3 picked out. We'll see how many I get to. I don't want to make this too long, but I do want to make it, interesting and kind of walk through my process with how I edited these photos. So this first one, as you can see, it's of my sister. Her name's Becca, and it's just very non-vibrant at all. Like, there are no colors, it's pretty white, and like nothing's popping, like she looks great, it's a good photo, but it just needs a little bit, like a little sprinkle. So what I always start off by doing is this little S-curve thing here, and I just, pretty simple, nothing too intense, just a little slight S with each of the different colors. And this is just going to help bring out the colors a bit more and just really increase the contrast and make it stand out. Also, I'll bring it back to the original. You can't really tell. You can't tell at all, but it's something that I always do, and I feel like if I don't do it, then it's, maybe we'll intensify it a little bit, especially those reds and greens, because those are pretty poppin' in this picture. But you don't want to do anything too intense, or else you'll get something like that. And that's not cute at all, but just something subtle to kind of give it a bit more life. And then I'm going to start playing around with these settings you're seeing here, exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, whites, and blacks. And these will kind of help bring it back to life. So we're going to start off with exposure first, because it is very white. And you can see just by bringing exposure down a little bit, it's already helping a lot. I do like to play around with highlights. You don't want to bring it down all the way, but somewhere around 60 is usually fine. Shadows, maybe around there. Don't need to touch that too much. Whites, I do want to make the picture a little brighter, so somewhere around there. And then blacks. And then as you can see, this is a pretty intense difference already, but it's still not looking like a good edited picture, so just gonna go around and tweak some things. And definitely contrast is a big one. Can't believe I forgot that. That's embarrassing. And yeah, just a little tweaks, because if you go through once and you're kind of doing like a little rough edit, then you can go back and be really meticulous about what you're moving. And I really do love editing on my iPad, because you can just slide with your fingers. It's so much easier. Some people prefer editing on their computers. It's completely fine. I used to do that. And then I bought an iPad so I could just edit from my couch, and that was a lovely decision. So, yeah, I'm kind of happy where this is at right now. So we're going to go into the color section, and this really allows you to play with each specific color and increase its intensity, saturation, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to start by making it a bit warmer, because I don't know if you can tell, but it's during golden hour. Like, we do have some light leaks coming through, and this just helps make those a bit more prominent. And then I do like to have a slight green tint to my photos, so throwing that in as well. Vibrance, I am going to play around with this. I don't want to make it too intense. And then saturation, somewhere around there. So as you can see, her face is kind of dull, but the green grass is like really prominent. So we're going to go into color mix and kind of dull down the intensity of that grass, because that's not the focal point of our picture. So I'm playing with saturation and luminance. You can kind of tell what it's doing. It's just making it like intense, more of like a matte if you turn it down, and then it's bringing out the highlights if you turn it up. But you do want to be careful, because if we don't mask the grass specifically, then it alters all of the green in the photo. So just playing around with that. And then also you can kind of change the color of the grass. So I kind of like around there, and I'm pretty happy with that. So we're going to play with yellow too. Again, like, you don't want to make it too intense, because you can see how that starts to affect the whole picture. But I'm not the biggest fan of yellow in photos. I just think it kind of looks, I don't know, I don't love the color yellow, but I can't play with it too much. Yeah, so you can see if I hold down on the screen, you can see a before and after. So I'm pretty pleased with how this is coming, but we are going to make some small differences. So again, with orange, This is mostly just her skin tone. I don't think I'm gonna touch that a lot because of just how it's affecting the rest of the picture. So now we're gonna go into effects. I usually like to increase the texture just a little bit. Just kind of adds a bit more, it adds texture to the photo. I don't know, it's a stylistic choice. And then I think dehaze is also a good one. So you can kind of see what this is doing. Really just snaps your picture into focus. So I am gonna increase dehaze a little bit. Let's zoom in on her face because I can't tell if it's splotchy or that's just, you can't even tell. So like you see how her face is kind of grainy? I'm trying to figure out how to fix that. So I think we're actually gonna go back into light and change my highlights. I think that will help a little bit. So let's see if this can do anything. Again, just playing around, seeing what works. A lot of photo editing, like you can be meticulous to a point, but you really do have to have like just intuition and just kind of know like kind of what to do. So like some things that I'm noticing right now is her stomach looks green, her face looks red, and that's not really consistent. So I might want to go back into colors, maybe see what I'm doing with the greens and why that's looking that way. So I think I like this a bit better. I'm kind of happy where this is at. So I think this is going to be our final edit. So again, you have before and after. I am 6 minutes into this, so I think I'm gonna try to just do one more photo, and then that should that should get us there. I don't want this to go on for super long. So this next photo is of my best friend. We're in this little castle thing in the middle of the woods, and she was wearing this gorgeous yellow dress, and I'm like, stand by the window and look flawless. I'm gonna take some pictures, and we got this gem. But as you can see, there's really not a lot of life in this picture. Like, it's kind of a sassy pose, and so I really just want to bring life back into this picture and also kind of fix the background because it's very overexposed right now. So like I did with the last picture, I'm gonna start off by doing my S-curves. And this, I think you'll see more of a difference with this one because it has more color. Like bringing color to this photo is not an issue, whereas the last one, it was just completely white. But you'll be able to see kind of, maybe it's just in my head, you know, like it's a very subtle difference, but it definitely does get the ball rolling, especially if you're just starting. So for this photo, since the background is overexposed, I'm gonna actually go in with the dehaze tool first, and I'm just gonna increase that a little bit, and you'll see that that just kind of adds a bit more texture in the background especially, but also to her dress. It makes her dress feel more alive. So I'm happy where dehaze is at, and now I'm gonna go play with these, the light tools. So exposure, contrast, highlight, shadows, whites, blacks, you can read. But I'm gonna play around with these. I'm gonna turn down exposure so we get that background, but see if I turn it down too much, then it's like completely black. And just for time's sake, I'm not going to mask out our subject. I think that would just take a long time. And honestly, you can work around it. So I'm really gonna focus on highlights instead of exposure. So let's just play around. I'm increasing shadows because a lot of her silhouette is in the shadows right now, and I do want to make that pop. Decreasing blacks to add a bit of definition. Playing around with whites, just seeing what looks good. Nothing too crazy. I think I'm happy where this is at, so let's do a little before and after. So as you can see, we really did bring some life into that background, and we did isolate our subject because we made her stand out from the background. So I think that's lovely. Let's keep going. Let's go into color. I'm gonna start with a warmish tint just because she has a yellow dress. It makes sense. Again, if you do something too intense, it could look a bit crazy, or vice versa. So I do try to stay above, like I try to stay plus 30, minus 30 as just a rule of thumb. Anything more than that, you tend to look a bit wild. So I think somewhere around there. And it just makes it seem, I don't know, it just makes it seem more majestic. Is that like, I don't know, you just kind of have to like, you just kind of have to feel it, you know? I don't think, you just kind of have to feel it. So again, that green tint that I love, I just think it makes it look more cinematic and filmy. I don't know if that makes sense, but again, like, I guess the point of this whole thing is it's just the vibe, you know, you just kind of have to decide the vibe that you're going for and then kind of visualize it. And then the tools, like Lightroom especially, makes it so easy for you to use so that, you know, gosh, I'm wording this so badly, but I hope it's making sense. Like, you can definitely see a difference with the before and after. Like, you can see the green undertones coming through, you can see the warmth coming through, you can definitely see the background being a bit more prominent. Obviously, anything up here, if we spend too much time on it, it will look fake. So I'm not super obsessed with, you know, that situation, but you do what you do, you know? So now I'm gonna play with this orange color so you can see that kind of impacts her dress. I am just gonna play around with this, again, just trying to feel out the vibe, bringing out some reds, bringing out the texture. I definitely do want to make this pop a bit, so we'll just play around. And as you can see, this is definitely impacting the background too, so something to be aware of. Going into reds, seeing what that does. Sometimes I just play with the tools and I like, if you just go like this, you see where the reds are, and if you need to accentuate them or kind of get rid of them, that's helpful. Playing with the yellow, like I'm just playing around right now, and you can kind of see what it's doing to her dress. I'm really just trying to get that golden color. And as you can see in the before and after, it does just pop a lot more when you focus on the specific colors that you want to see. So I'm pretty happy where that's at. Let's go back into light and again, just do some finishing touches. So I do want her face to stand out a bit more. I think we can do some shadows, increasing there, lowering our blacks, still keeping that contrast. Playing around, seeing what feels good, and I'm pretty happy where this is at now. So here is the before and here is the after. So hopefully this was instructional. Hopefully you learned something. We definitely saw how to edit, how to bring color back into a photo, how editing isn't used for changing a photo completely, but more so enhancing a photo. So let me know in the comments if you want more content like this, more tutorials. Send me some of your pictures. I can edit them. Maybe that could be fun. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and like and subscribe for more content like this. Okay, bye.